After a bit of walking, we come to an old-looking door with a brass handle.
Okay, the goblin's key should open this door.
Kid says, putting the key into the lock. With a click, the door unlocks. The door opens with a deep creak. Damp air creeps up from below. Peering into the dark, decrepit place, I wonder how I ever got talked into coming to a place like this. We find ourselves in a long hallway, flanked on both sides by rows of countless jail cells. The cold iron bars stretch on in front of us endlessly. 1, 2...
Gob, Meredith, forgive me.
A quiet, sobbing voice seems to be coming from the third cell on the right. I peer around the corner into the cell. In this dim, damp space, an old man sits in solitude, quietly mumbling to himself. Hey, mister.
Everyone. And it was all because of me. Every last one of the dragoons. Miss Riddel. Even the general. Forgive me. Please.
Ignoring us, the old man continues to mutter, staring at the floor as he rocks back and forth.
Hey, can you hear me?
Kid says, shaking the bars a little.
He will not hear a thing. He has constructed a wall around himself.
Magil says. What do you mean? I ask Magil.
A wall, used for shielding one's mind from reality. After being exposed to horrific events, tremendous amounts of pain and guilt has this effect on a person. He has made a safe world inside his own mind, where he retreats into. From there, he refuses to acknowledge anything he does not want to admit.
I notice that talking about this has given Magil a sort of sad, lost look on his face. Noticing my glance, he quickly turns away from me. Strange. Magil somehow reminded me of Kid just then. When Magil turns back, his usual blank expression has returned.
Does this make sense to you, Serge?
Magil asks. Yeah, it does. Magil continues, looking at Kid and me.
We rarely see the walls we're trapped within. However, given time, some can come to understand and possibly even break free of these shortcomings. I
wait for Magil to finish, but he doesn't end up saying anything. I'd ask, but... oh well. The mind revealing itself to itself.
We can't help this, old geezer. Let's get back to work.
Kid says, already heading for the door.
Wait, kid.
Magil calls out.
Somehow or another, we may yet find a way into this man's mind.
What good'll that do?
Didn't you hear what he was talking about? The dragoons, Riddel, General Viper.
Ice, probably just into old folklore or something.
Kid says, returning to the door.
I have a feeling his knowledge will prove to be useful. Certainly he has heard something of importance concerning our situation.
Magil says.
Well, I guess we ought to help the old bloke out with his troubles while we're here. What do you say we do?
Kid asks. Thinking through everything that's been said already, I really have no idea about how to get anywhere with him.
Well, somebody better think of something soon.
Kid says.
We must find a way to reach beyond his wall. For every locked door, there exists a key, so to speak. We will never make any progress with this man until we know what lies in his past.
What are you talking about? A key?
Kid asks.
I do not know either.
Magil answers.
However, there is at least one person in Viper Manor who does.
Riddel.
Indeed.
Leaving the endless rows of cells behind, we head back to the passageway. After heading down the dark, dingy passageway for a while, eventually I start to smell the pungent odor of dead fish. we return to the atrium. Ahead of us, we see another archway which will take us back to an upward staircase and eventually Lynx's and Riddel's quarters. We proceed through the dark passageway. Before long, we're greeted with a beautifully ornate set of doors on the right. These are the quarters of Riddel, Lynx's adopted daughter.
Come along, Serge. You're about to learn how to really sweet talk a lady.
We come to a comfortably decorated room. Small trinkets have been placed on the desk and shelves, adding some charm. The owner of this room has obviously gone to great lengths to try and bring a somewhat graceful lifestyle into this otherwise dark mansion. Still, the room seems to carry an unsettling stillness with it.
Is someone there?
I instantly hide behind the door, trying to figure out where that voice came from. It sounded like a girl, but it wasn't Kid. It's Lynx's adopted daughter, Riddel. It has to be her,
Odd. I could have sworn I heard someone come in.
she says. Apparently she hasn't seen us yet. What do we do? I keep myself hidden behind the door. Suddenly, Kid bolts out from behind a chair. She silently comes up behind Riddel, putting a knife to her throat.
We've come for the frozen flame. Where is it?
Kid yells in a low, strict voice. Whoa, Kid! There's no need to be like that, I say, trying to calm her down.
Quiet, Serge!
Riddel giggles at the two of us.
What's so funny?
Kid says in a tight tone.
Oh, come on. You can't be thieves. You're far too noisy.
I wouldn't be saying such things if I was you.
Well then, go ahead and cut me.
At that moment, I picture in my head Riddel collapsing with a blue face, smeared in blood. Kid, look at her. She's not going to hurt us.
God damn it! All right. Still, don't think I'm not keeping an eye on you.
The feeling's mutual.
Riddel says. Don't worry, we're not your enemies. We're not after your power, I say to Riddel, trying to keep cool. We've just come to talk. If there's anything you could tell us about the frozen flame, or perhaps the Acacia Dragoons? Hearing these words, a somber look comes over Riddel's face. After a moment, she begins to speak.
The frozen flame. It was kept in a kingdom to the north for centuries, legend has it. With its subtle, mysterious power, it allegedly could guide people and change history, all while somehow remaining elusive to those who sought it, or so I heard. At the time of that kingdom's downfall, it was seized from its resting place, passed from hand to hand. Finally, it came into the possession of my father, General Viper. Lynx approached my father as a friend years ago. Blindly trusting him, my father was taken advantage of by Lynx, unable to realize his true intentions. And so, on that fateful day, struck down by his alleged friend, my father was robbed and left for dead.
Averting her eyes, Riddel buries her face in her hands.
I didn't know. I didn't know Lynx was behind all this at the time he took me into custody. I was just a child. That cursed rock, I didn't know anything about it, and I don't want to. I don't want to have anything to do with it. I want nothing more than to see this all come to an end,
she says, with tears in her eyes. I'm taken aback, hearing these words. Suddenly, Magil comes forward to speak.
Do you know of the old man who currently is locked away in the catacombs?
That traitor, because of him, my father, my dear Zorander.
Please, miss.
Turning her back on us, Riddel pauses. After a moment, she turns around, letting out a deep sigh.
Yes, I know the man of whom you speak.
He is an Acacia Dragoon, is he not?
Magil asks.
He was, before he spent countless days and nights locked up in the torture chamber, losing his mind as well as his identity in the process. I remember the day they removed him from that dreadful room, beaten within an inch of his life.
The torture chamber you speak of is the room upstairs with the trap ceiling, correct?
Riddel nods silently.
Perhaps we may find a clue to his past there,
says Magil. I'd hoped it wouldn't come to this.
If you must search that room, be sure you have the Einlanzer with you before you do.
What?
Kid asks.
It is a holy white sword created long ago by ancient sages, along with its demonic brother, the Masamune. It was the Acacia Dragoon's most prized weapon. It once glided through the air in Zorander's hand, shimmering like a star. Now, however, the Dragoons are all but extinct, and the sword has been stored somewhere in this mansion as though it was some sort of trivial memento. It is much more than a common sword, though. Shielded by its magical enchantment, its bearer will be protected against many forms of evil.
Thinking of those memories of days long gone, again Riddel hangs her head in sadness.
I wish I could be more of a help to you. I apologize.
No, that was plenty.
Kid says, heading out of the room.
But I wish I was more powerful, like you people.
Riddel says, biting her lip. Stopping in the doorway, Kid looks over her shoulder.
Strength didn't get us here. Power comes from believing in yourself.
I see. I wish you luck.
As she heads out of the room, Kid mutters,
Hope it ain't bad luck.
From here, the passageway stretches to the right and left. Heading to the right will take us to Lynx's quarters, while turning left will take us back to the ascending staircase. After a little while, the dark passageway ends at a polished, robust set of doors. Lynx's quarters. Oh man, I can feel Kid's blood boiling from here.
Let's cut up all his clothes. That'll show him. Lynx! Let's kick his ass.
What? Lynx is here? I rush into the room behind Kid, unsheathing my knife in a flash of adrenaline. Where is he? Beside me, Kid says,
Gotcha. Were you scared?
She asks, giggling. Oh, sheesh. Don't do that to me.
Has Lord Lynx returned to the room?
A high alto voice asks. Kid and I glance at each other, giggling.
No, he isn't here right now.
Ah, Master Serge. Is there something I can answer for you?
The statue asks in a pleasant voice.
Or perhaps you'd be interested in this lovely gift I have for you.
Huh? A gift?
Only a modest token of my appreciation for you and your comrades. I present you with a personal invitation into the realm of the Looking Glass, if you are interested.
Wow, really?
Yes, but we must hurry. Time is of the essence.
I look towards the dark, rippling surface of the mirror. Slowly, I reach my hand out towards it. It feels like my hand is being submerged in water, passing straight into the mirror. Suddenly, there's a slight pull. I try to retract my arm, but the harder I pull, the further I seem to be getting drawn in.
Master Serge, take your hand out quickly.
Just then, a crack streaks across the mirror. What's going on? Amidst my struggling, I see a crack start to streak down the mirror's glass.
Save yourself, Master Serge. Please, before I am forced to consume you.
What? Kid starts pulling with me, Despite the increasing force drawing me in, I'm now up to my shoulder in this thing. On the count of 3, I yell. 1, 2, 3! We tumble backwards, falling onto the couch. I look at my arm in a daze. It's fine. Shaking myself off, I return to the mirror, now even more cracked since I last saw it.
Lynx planned to seal you all in the mirror.
The statue says, sobbing. Each time it speaks, another crack seems to be running into it.
This isn't all. I had alerted Lord Lynx to your presence long before you had known of me.
Why?
Lynx has already taken away everything I have. He refused to allow me to leave Viper Manor, coercing me to be the mansion's eyes and ears, promising he would someday set me free.
Hanging her head low, the Venus statue speaks in a quiet, solemn voice.
However, it was simply another one of Lord Lynx's schemes. No freedom is worth stealing another's for. I would rather destroy myself than become another murderer.
As yet another crack appears, a large piece of the mirror breaks off, falling to the ground. No! Don't! I yell, grasping the mirror. A huge crack streaks across the entire mirror, preventing me from seeing almost any of the statue. The statue's lips can be seen moving faintly from beyond the now heavily cracked mirror, but no words can be heard. I silently bend down and gather up all the shards. Putting them on the desk, I look into the kaleidoscope of reflections.
Serge?
From behind me, I hear Kid's voice.
Let's go, mate.
As I leave the room, I quietly look over my shoulder, looking at the smashed mirror. I stop for a second, hoping to hear a voice, but all I hear is silence. Heading back, we travel through the passageway, eager to shake this feeling of dread. I follow Kid up the narrow set of stairs, hoping not to lose my balance. After continuing through the passage for a while, the terrace comes into view on the right. I take a deep breath of the fresh evening air, hoping to calm my senses. We walk quietly out onto the terrace, instantly welcomed by a cold nighttime breeze. The dreary forest we came through lies directly ahead. A light chill has sent down my spine as I watch the treetops rustle in the howling wind.
Seems we got ourselves into a bit of a mess here, hey Serge? Better get our asses in gear.
Yeah. To tell you the truth, I can't think of anything better to say. Hopelessly lost in her eyes once again. Oh, I hope she doesn't notice I can't take my eyes off her. Man, she's so strong. Why can't I be more like her? Well, nice moon tonight, huh? I say, not knowing in the least what a guy like Magil would ever want to talk about with anybody. Ever. A faint smile emerges beneath the shadow of his mask. Looking up at the tall, looming figure of Magil, the weight of my situation strikes home once again. Here I am, standing here with a powerful mage on the doorstep of a deadly mansion, trying to steal a priceless jewel, all while sneaking around, avoiding a maniacal tyrant. Well, hey, it's been a wild night so far. I wish all my life could be this interesting.
Do not confuse fun with recklessness, Serge. It may be nothing more than mere luck that has allowed us to avoid death so far. We should head back inside. The sun will be up soon.
Magil adds.
Yeah, really. Come on, mate, time to go.
Here's looking at you, kid. And Serge. Magil, not so much.
Let's start project.